Our next topic in Unit 1 is biochemistry. And so on the screen you can see the 4 organic compounds, or the 4 vocabulary words we have to learn. The first one being organic compound. So organic at the grocery store means you didn't use pesticides to grow the plants. But in a chemistry class, we are talking about that it's made by a living thing. So that's what makes it organic. All the organic compounds contain carbon, or usually contain carbon, and usually have hydrogens and oxygen and nitrogen bound to them as well. So they're very complex molecules that are made by living things. That's what makes it organic. I can think of compounds, molecules that have carbon in them and they're inorganic, like carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is a really small inorganic compound with carbon, but any large carbon compound was made by living things, and so therefore it's organic. When you go on to chemistry next year's chemistry class is actually inorganic chemistry. That's what you learn in your first year of chemistry on almost all levels. You learn inorganic chemistry is a little easier than organic chemistry. And so organic chemistry will be a topic that if you major in biology or chemistry, you would be taking in college. So it's a difficult subject. Today we're going to do the basics of that organic chemistry. So two other vocabulary words to note is hydrophilic, which means hydro means water, philic means love, like the city of brotherly love is Philadelphia. So you can think of it as being water loving, or what that really means is that it dissolves in water. And then you have hydrophobic. Phobic means fear, right? So that's why we wrote water fearing. And it doesn't really fear the water, but it really means that it does not dissolve in water. But it would dissolve in other hydrophobic compounds. So remember, like dissolves like. So polar dissolves polar, nonpolar dissolves nonpolar. And so that's what we'll be talking about later in this lesson. All right, so the next couple of vocabulary words for you to understand this organic chemistry is something called a monomer and a polymer. So mono means one, poly means many. So a monomer is one part, and it's really what we consider kind of the smallest part that makes up the whole. So we have the monomer, which is one part. The polymer is you put a bunch of monomers together. So you just hook them all together. And so a polymer is a long chain of monomers. So this is a polymer because it's more than one. And that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about all of the polymers that are in your body, and that all those polymers are broken down into their monomers for your cell to do its cell job. So your cell is constantly creating polymers and taking polymers apart. And so the two ways we do that in our bodies is first, condensation reaction. The condensation reaction, it's also called dehydration synthesis, is a reaction that removes water. And when in doing so, it helps the two monomers link. So you can see on the screen here, this is condensation. So we have a monomer. It has an H on one side and an OH on the other side. And what's going to happen is the OH comes off and the H comes off here. And then you get HOH, which is also known as H2O, which is water. So you have your two monomers. You pull off the H and the OH, and then these will stick together. And so you just keep pulling off waters. So every time you put a monomer together, you've pulled off one water. So you created one water in a way. So you're adding water to the cell, which the cell will probably have to deal with, like get rid of or use for another purpose. So to put them together, you are taking away water and you're linking. Your cell does that all the time. Now your cell does the other thing too, though. It will take a polymer, and then what what you do, what your cell does, is it adds water and it makes them come apart. So add a water molecule, apart. Add another water molecule, apart. Add another water molecule, apart. So that is called hydrolysis, right? Hydro is like water and lysis is to cut. So water cutting, right? That's really where that word comes from. And so I will make my little screen here smaller so you can see right here, hydrolysis. We're going to take out a water, or we're going to add the water, and then the OH and the H, and now they're separate. And you keep doing that, and eventually you have separated your whole polymer into a bunch of monomers. So your body, your cells, on the inside of your cells, and even in your organs, they do this. They might be taking things apart. They might be putting things together. So that is the beginning of organic molecules. I'm stopping the lecture here because I have a gizmos for you to do.